right, so Gavin, tell me, how is the market going at the moment?
Well, the Gold Coast property market is a very, very resilient market. Despite interest rate rises, the Gold Coast market is still just trucking on. I guess just the natural attributes of the Gold Coast. So many people want to come and live here, and they can base themselves here and quite often keep their job from interstate and work remotely. All these factors have provided the resilience in our market.
So with the resilience, so obviously the market's doing really well. So as a buyer's agent, what does that mean for you and how you can help your clients?
Yeah, well, when properties go to market, obviously a good professional agent, his job is to extract the most they possibly can get out of the market. So through good advertising, open homes, creating competition, whether they, don't put the price on the property and try to, just drive the demand for the property. All these factors all attribute to trying to get the best possible result for the seller, and that's the agent's job in doing that. Where we come into it is we quite often, when we have a brief from a client, we know what the client's after, we go to the agents and try to find out about what stock they may have coming up. And in many cases, the agents are quite happy to try and get a deal done pre-market. If they've got a client who, for different reasons, the owner may not really want to have everyone through their open home and that kind of thing. So quite often we can get deals done early in the process when we're not competing against the full market. So that's where we get the advantage. Quite often we can save hundreds of thousands of dollars on a purchase price by getting to the stock early.
So when you say getting to the stock early, are you talking about off-market properties, or you're the first one to be able to put an offer in?
Yeah, that's right. So as I said, when we've got the brief right from our client and we know what we're after, we're engaged by them to go looking for properties, we'll go directly to the agents in the key suburbs that that are suitable for our client, and we'll try and find the properties before they come to market. So these are properties that where the vendor has an intention to come to market, so we will get to it early and we'll get first bite at it. Or quite often agents just know of people who would sell if the right offer came along, who could be motivated or encouraged to sell. So that's what we call off-market stock, completely off-market. It's not really for sale, and we're just trying to give our clients every opportunity. Now, these opportunities aren't there for everybody because it's the relationships we have with these agents. So I've lived on the Gold Coast since I was 2 years old. I've got relationships with some agents that go back 35 years. So we've got a lot of credibility in the tank. Agents can talk to us confidentially about properties and know that we're not going to go and talk to another agent and interfere with the process for that agent to try to get the sale.
It sounds like a lot of trust that an agent has with you to be able to deal with you in that way.
Yeah, well, we're professionals in the industry. I was a real estate agent for 6 years. I've walked in their shoes. I know what they're all going through as a selling agent. The last thing you want is for information to fall in the wrong hands and all of a sudden there's another agent in there trying to get the listing, especially if that vendor isn't even that motivated to sell. So they might find that quite insulting when they get approached by another agent. So it's our discretion and the trust that we have with these agents is why we get these opportunities.
So it sounds like you've got properties that you can get a hold of that if anyone was just out there looking for a property, they would never see some of these properties.
It's hard to quantify, but I think probably 50% of what actually gets sold in reality never actually even makes it onto the open market. It's because of the off-market and pre-market opportunities where an agent will get a deal done before having to go to the full market.
So in that case, if let's say I'm a buyer, it sounds like I need to be ready to go. Like once I approach you, I'm best off being ready to go, or will you guide me through how to be in a position for those off-market properties?
when we engage a client, we go through the process, and we need to understand what your capabilities are in terms of, are you finance ready? Are you a cash buyer? What settlement periods suit for you? Things like that. So once we've got all that criteria, we know what we've got to work with, because quite often it's not about the highest possible price we'll get the property. Quite often, if we can tailor our terms to help, that works really well with the seller, quite often we can buy the property at a lower price. So the terms are a very important part of it. But yeah, getting through the properties, and our job is to save you time and bother, and we don't want to show you properties that if they're not right for you. So we always go and personally inspect the properties, make sure that we do like a report card on the properties, so you understand before we put it. Before you have to give it too much consideration, we'll know whether it ticks all your boxes or not. Then what we find is that, as I said before, we're kind of like, because we're professionals in the industry working with agents all the time, there is a lot of trust, and they tend to tell us a lot more about the deal. We discuss the deal a lot more openly about where we would need to be to get a deal done than, say, a typical agent would in regard to talking to a direct buyer. So we tend to cut to the guts of the deal a lot quicker, which also helps enable our clients to make better informed decisions.